People say landlords are greedy and things like that, but actually you're doing a service to society.
My husband and I, we try to only live on one salary because I feel like a job should never ever hold you in bondage.
I grew up in a very female dominated household. I never had my dad, I have my 2 older sisters, and it was very just females. I never actually ever saw a successful relationship around me.
When you looked to the left of you, I was like, what is that? And they said it, and I was like, you want me to live next to a prison? Are you mad?
Yeah, you're like glue. I don't know if people told you that before.
No, I've never heard that.
No, I feel like you are you're a connector. Some people have that about them. Some people have it. I feel like you've got that about you. You are a connector.
My husband is based in Berkshire.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm a London girl.
Yeah. You're from Hackney?
Yeah, from Hackney.
Yeah.
From Ends.
Yeah. So who got the offer first? You or your husband? Did you both get jobs at the same time or?
No, so 20.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of Women Empowered. I'm so excited because today I've got another special guest. I have a special guest every week. But this lady, she's just amazing, superwoman, and also she's a really good friend. I'd love to introduce to you Jaye.
Hi. Thank you for having me. And yeah, also you're a special friend. It's crazy because we met 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago at a hen party. So
right in Barcelona. Yeah, no, that is, and who knew?
You'd
be here now. So yeah, if you could introduce yourself to the audience, for those that don't know you or know anything about you, who is Jaye?
Hi, so I'm Jaye. I was born in Gambia, raised in London. I live here in Dubai. I've been in Dubai for almost 2 years. I work as a finance manager. I'm also married for now 7 years.
Wow.
Together with my husband, 14 years.
Wow.
So we've been together for a while. And I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have a 2-year-old boy and a soon to be 5 tomorrow. 5 years, her birthday. So 5 years old daughter.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. That was a lovely intro.
Thank you.
And I just want to get into it. I want to know a bit more about you. Obviously, I know loads about you, but I want the audience to know about you and your story. So let's start with Dubai.
Yeah.
So we're currently both in Dubai. And a lot of people out there want to move to Dubai. They've got Dubai on their list in some sort of way. Can you tell me about your journey to Dubai? How did you end up here?
Yeah, so originally, I think it was 2010. So I worked for a PR agency and I've worked in finance. And Dubai are one of the units or MENA regions that we worked with. And so there was an opportunity there. Interviewed, all went well. I was offered the package. But what it was my salary, but no tax. And being in finance and knowing how economies work, having a like-for-like salary just doesn't work. So I turned the package down. And then a few years
later. So this was
later,
2010?
2010.
So you got an offer for 2010 to move here?
Sorry, 2018.
2018, yeah.
So 2018,
yeah.
My husband and I had been married September.
Yeah.
And December 2018, I received the offer to move to Dubai, like-for-like salary, but no tax. And what I find, fast forward now, is that a lot of people are having these kind of offers and they're saying yes to it because it's like, okay, I'm getting what I'm getting in the UK, but no tax. It feels like a good offer, but the cost of living isn't the same.
Right.
So at the time, I turned it down. I was like, no, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a few years later, 2 kids, and the idea of going back to work. And I feel like when you look at your outgoings, you're doing well, you're all working hard, but the difference after everything just doesn't make sense. And I feel like in Dubai, the ability and the opportunity to build wealth is a lot easier here. It's not easier at all, but there's more opportunities, the mentality. And I feel like all of that combined, I just couldn't imagine going back to work and going back to the same process again.
Yeah.
So I could have reached out to my company, but I wanted the biggest package possible.
Okay.
And I feel like what happens with some mothers, when we take maternity leave, come in and out of work, it then kind of stifles your trajectory when it comes to work. So you don't progress in the same way. Even in business, you can't, well, you can, but you don't always progress in the same way as your partner.
Yeah, very true.
So then I was like, I spoke to my husband, I was like, look, we're doing well here, but I know we can do better. And I know there's opportunities in Dubai. I know for a fact the package you'll get will be a lot bigger. So I spoke to him, he spoke to work, and he interviewed for a role But at the time, they didn't have a like role, but they had something else.
Okay.
So they offered him that.
Right.
And I think what I would say for anyone who maybe wants to relocate to Dubai and you're doing it with a job, don't take the first offer.
Oh, wow.
Or even, I think even if they come to you, because what happens at times, they ask you what you want.
Okay.
Don't play small.
Right.
Because you'll be kicking yourself if you give them what you think is so much more than what you get in the UK and they say yes first round. They're saying yes because they know they can give you so much more.
Wow. So you got an offer 2018.
Yeah.
And I always think that Dubai pre-COVID and post-COVID are quite different. So that was like pre-COVID, before like loads of people were moving here, I would say.
Yeah.
And you said, no, it's just not good enough for me, basically. Went back to the drawing board. And then when did you move out here then? What year?
2023.
2023. So you got the offer. That was, so who got the offer first? You or your husband? Like, did you both get jobs at the same time or?
No, so 2018, he didn't have a job. So he was going to come out without a job.
Okay.
And I think that's why I was very strict about the offer we had. Yeah. Because one thing, I think I've said before, but my husband and I, we try to only live on one salary because I feel like a job should never, ever hold you in bondage. So if you adjust your lifestyle to one salary, that means if you're in a good relationship or in a relationship where you really work as a team, the other salary can then be used to pour into investments, then be used to pour into other things that generates revenue. So if it's a case where, like when we had our daughter in 2020, because of the way we operate, my husband had like maybe 6 months off.
Wow.
So because of that, when I received that package, it wasn't a package that would be good for me and my husband.
Yeah.
So I turned it down.
Wow. That's really interesting, actually. I've never heard that before. So
really?
Never.
Yeah, we're strict on that.
So when you guys are going for jobs, you make sure that one salary can cover you guys, basically. You don't base it on two people because you feel like, okay, that's smart. Like one salary will cover and then this one will use for investments and for other projects. Yeah. And you've always been like that.
We've always been like that. So when we first got together, so we bought our first house when we were 25.
Yes. And that's something that's great to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad that you touched on that actually. Because you did that way before people were, now property online, property, like literally, you can literally get choked everywhere by hearing property. But when you guys were buying property, and I remember this because, you guys went on location.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was amazing because first of all, you did it in London.
Yep.
And secondly, you did it when nobody was really talking about property. It wasn't like an on call sort of thing. So speak about that because that's amazing.
Yeah, I remember. So we were together for a while, maybe like 4 years. And I don't want anyone to waste my time. So I'm very intentional on that. I know people don't like to speak about it much, but I feel like a lot of, it sounds very backwards, but I feel like a lot of women, we hold our power at a certain age. So I'm very strategic about what happens next because look, I've got more power the younger I am because the way society works.
Right.
So it came to a time where we were together for a while. I wanted a commitment, and I think not the house was a commitment, but I want to make sure we're always progressing. And so we were living at home. I was living at home. My husband was living with a group of friends, and it was a time where I was ready to move out. And so we had spoken maybe a year before and made plans to save. But then I remember I wanted to be engaged by 27, and it sounds silly because I think you'll get married and engaged when you're ready. But the only reason I said 27 is because I know the power that I may have probably weakens because the way society is and how silly it is when I reach my 30s. So I knew by 27, if there was no intention to commit, it's fine, let's go our separate ways. So the house thing happened, I think, so that kind of we've gone out of tangent, but when we came at 25, we saved up and we're looking for a house. And I remember it was slightly difficult to find the right house in London because my husband is based in Berkshire. Yeah. And I was like, I'm a London girl.
Yeah. You're from Hackney?
Yeah, from Hackney.
Yeah.
From Ends.
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot be the only one in the village. I need to live in London, love the vibe of London.
So you didn't want to go out to Berkshire?
No. I wasn't interested. And I remember we saw properties that were beautiful.
I can imagine.
Sizes.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's not going to tempt me. So we had to do London. And then I remember we were going to do a part by part rent.
Oh yeah, shared ownership.
Yeah, shared ownership. We found something in Clapham, and then we were together and watching Location. And my husband is a big dreamer. Like he's a strategic big dreamer.
Yeah, I've noticed that he's very like
very
he
strategic.
plans things out. Yeah.
And so he was like, let's apply on the show. So we're watching the show. Yeah. And he was like, oh, we should go in it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, okay, you apply and figure it out kind of thing. Then he applied and then he reached out. And then they did face-to-face interviews with us. And with Location, they have so many people apply. They can't risk having people that just want to be on the show or just be there for banter.
Right.
So you have to send all your bank statements, all your savings. Yeah, they have to know
they
that.
qualify you to make sure you're not just trying to get a bit of fame.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really good.
So we sent everything over and then we did the face-to-face interviews. And then, they selected us.
Wow.
And then I remember it was like a week before we got accepted for the Clapham house, because at the time Clapham wasn't as big, so at times I think maybe we should have taken that property, but part by part rent I don't think is I don't think it's great.
And what year, so everyone knows the time scales?
2015.
Yeah, 2015.
So
2015 you went on location to help you because you genuinely couldn't find what you wanted. So it was genuinely a need to go on the show to get them to help you. Did they find anything that was...
Yes, so we saw 3 properties. One was in Clapham, but there's like a semi-prison. So there's like a prison in Clapham that is for not hardcore criminals, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But on the show, you can't tell. It just looks like a nice street. But when you look to the left of you, I was like, what is that? And they said it. And I was like, you want me to live next to a prison? Are you mad?
Yeah.
I would never sleep.
I guess it's in London. They try to market it as like,
luxury.
Yeah.
So we saw that property. The location wasn't right. The second property was in Brixton.
Okay.
And at the time our budget only allowed us to buy a 1-bedroom.
Okay, yeah.
So
but in London, come on,
yeah.
like a 1 bed in London is like 3-4 bed out of London. So
So we went to see that property and it was nice. And then we saw one in Southwest London, and that one was nice. So that's the one we bought, and that one was in an area where it wasn't as up and coming at the time, but it worked out. So it's literally 10 minute bus drive from Brixton.
Nice.
So that was really good.
What area is that then?
So Streatham Hill. Yeah, Streatham Hill. And then, so now that's come up and that's doing really, really well. So I go back to that is because at the time when we had that property, because of the mortgage was really good, we were able to live solely on my salary.
Wow.
So then we just saved up and we became accustomed to just living on that. Because I know when people say or recommend live on one salary, it's like, well, we can't because of this. But if you become accustomed to one type of living, you just carry on and you continue like that.
You just adjust your cost according to one salary.
Yeah. So we did that to start. And then I think as time went on, I think it was only after we had our daughter, we then lived on 2 for a little bit. Yeah, no, we still lived on 1.
Wow.
Because I think what happened was we were able to live on 1 and that was fine. And then, do you know what it was? It was watching Patricia Bright.
Okay.
And she had said how she bought her second property. And I was like, what? You can do that? You can have 2 properties?
Wow.
And then I was like, that's a good shout. And I know that's possible, especially because we're living on 1. So so we continued living on 1 with the intention of buying a second.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So you had the strategy that, in a few years, we'll get our second home. Okay. And how long did you live in your first one, would you say?
So probably from 2015 till 2020.
Okay.
So
5 years.
5 years. And that was good.
Yeah. And then you went on to your next property?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did it for 5 years. Lockdown happened. So the plan was to move out, rent somewhere that was a good price in the area where we wanted to start a family.
So you wanted to rent out your Streatham property and then rent somewhere for you guys to live? Yeah. Okay, cool.
So we left in 2020 and I remember it was hard because who we were renting out to, they were ready to move straight away. But where we were going, they were an older couple because it was like a grown-up house. It was like a 3-bedroom, office, dining room, massive house. Yeah. But we had there was another family living there, but they couldn't move because of lockdown. So so what we did, we then moved in with my mum and dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your reason behind the strategy of renting out because we've done that before. So you rent out your own place that you owned, then to rent somewhere else. What was the reasoning behind that? Because some people may think, oh, why are you renting if you own somewhere? What was your strategy behind that?
To build capital.
Yeah.
Because straight away, so I think at the time my husband was like, oh, let's just sell the flat. Like, I'm not selling anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build portfolios of properties. I'm not selling anything, especially because it was Streatham Hill. It was 6 minutes away from a station. It was next to Brixton, next to Victoria. I am not selling that in London.
No.
And the street at the time, we were lucky, the street we lived on, a lot of the houses were the full house. So a lot of them are valued at 1.2 million, to some 3.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not selling this house. It's never going to happen. And also where we live, some of the houses you're not allowed to build additional balconies, and after lockdown the access to outside space increased, so that helped when it came to putting it out to rent, because straight away we only, when we came to rent it, I think we did one, maybe from 9 to 12 viewings. We had like 20 people come and see the flat. It went in a few hours.
Wait, say that again. So you had on one morning you had a viewing for your Streatham Hill flat.
Yeah, we did it ourselves.
And then you did it yourselves?
Yeah.
You didn't go through agent? You decided to manage the whole process yourself?
Yeah.
What was the reason behind that?
Cutting costs.
Just okay. Yeah.
And you can do it yourself.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
And you had how many viewings?
I think we had 20. So we used a website called Open Rent. So we use Open Rent.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of the work for you.
True.
So we use Open Rent, and it was quite cheeky. So what happened, because we're on location, I would watch it on my laptop. I would screenshot, because at the end, after moving into the house, they came and did a revisit. So they filmed the house. And of course, you're going to be on TV. Your house is going to look the best at the time.
Absolutely.
So when I was watching it back, what I did was screenshot images of the house. So that then gave me the professional pictures, which I then used in Open Rent.
Amazing.
And we were lucky enough, we were lucky enough to still have the floor plan. Because again, to get someone to come look at your house and give you that floor plan, that costs money.
Yeah.
So we had everything we needed ourselves. So there's no point going to an estate agent.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, and you're completely managing the process. You can meet every single person.
Yeah.
How was that, like, doing the viewings?
I loved it. So I was more the back end. Okay. So I did the websites, I did all the emails. So when people came through, asked all the questions. Because again, we don't want people to stress about paying the rent, right? And also, as landlords, I don't want to feel like potentially we're not going to be able to cover our mortgage. So I did all the right questions, looked at all of the salaries that people earn, just to make sure that, look, you're coming in here, we want you to enjoy the house and not feel like you're going above and beyond. So I did all the back end and all the checks, and also Open Rent allow you to do all the checks as well. And references.
Yes, they do.
And then saying yes to the right candidates, then my husband would then do the viewings.
Okay.
Because I think also the size of the flat, having 2 people in there. Yeah. So then he'll come and do the viewings and show people around, and then I'll reply back to the email. So it's like a teamwork.
Okay. Teamwork. Amazing. So, so you've still got that flat?
Yeah. We still
doing well, tenanted?
Yeah, tenanted. We've probably had 3 tenants there from 2020.
Okay.
One of them stayed for 2 years, and they were fortunate enough to save enough, because I guess the way we do the contracts, we do it in a way that makes sense for the market and makes sense for the tenants. Yeah. So they stayed there for 2 years, were able to then save and buy their own flat.
Oh, amazing.
So that was nice. Like saying bye to them was nice, because it was like, okay, we've had you for 2 years. And we did nothing.
Wow.
They were happy. They made it at home. We left them alone. I think we spoke once in a while, more so Christmas time, Merry Christmas or whatever else. And then they left after 2 years. We had another couple and they broke up.
Oh.
Yeah. So they had to go their separate ways. And then now we've got 2 couples. They're really happy. We don't hear from them much.
Oh, that's
other
good.
than Christmas, saying Merry Christmas,
Happy
New Year.
Yeah.
So it's nice, like, having those tenants, because they're happy, we're happy. Halas.
Yeah, everything's good. Amazing. And it's nice. You know, people say landlords are all pricks. People say landlords are greedy and things like that. But actually, you're doing a service to society, and you can, like you said, like, you know, your tenant was able to stay in your place for a couple of years, save and move on, you know, from that, and build their own life. So it's like, you know, it's definitely, you know, I feel like it's a service to society. Buying property and letting it out, it's a need in the UK. People need properties to rent out, you know, so it's amazing that you've had a really positive experience, and being in London is a goldmine. I can imagine that the value of that property has just gone up, like, really well.
And I think as well, the whole landlord thing, when we were doing the viewings and even seeing how many candidates were applying, people need houses.
Oh, man.
They need places to live. So I know, but I feel like it's not a UK thing, but I think just naturally, if you have more than one, it just gets people's back up, because in their mind, sometimes they don't see the people behind the title tenant. So they just think, oh, you're just greedy. And it's not about that. It's people working extremely hard. Yeah. We literally lived on one salary.
Yeah, exactly.
And adjusted our lifestyle to that to save enough. It's not like money just flew in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good point. Yeah, that is graft behind it and strategy behind it as well. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your relationship. So you've touched on your husband a few times and how you guys work amazingly as a team. You know, how important do you think it is in terms of like where you are now, you know, your journey, university, meeting your husband, buying property in London, moving to Dubai, you know, do you think you would have been able to do that if you didn't have an amazing marriage relationship?
No, I don't think so, because I think even if you just make it basic in how much, let's just talk about the basics and how much two people bring together financially and how they work with what they have. I couldn't do that without someone else that was open to it, because also being with people, maybe someone earns significantly more than you, is very much like, okay, this is mine and that's yours. Whereas from the beginning, he's very much like, we're a team. And so we're going to combine our resources. We're going to work together. Yeah. And so even if you're up and the other one isn't down, there's not that resentment. Yeah. And also it's not that competition.
Absolutely.
So my husband and I, we both met at university. Yeah. We were friends and we were together for like 3 years just as friends. It was when he moved to London. So after university, he moved to London and he was a trader. Okay. And I lived like literally 7 minutes away. I remember before he got his trader job, he would do interview questions with me. And so we'll go through it. And he's he's amazing at maths. So now I have all of these questions, like go over them with him. So even before becoming a couple, we already worked as a team. So I think that bond we've always had has helped in our relationship.
So you could see elements of him from very early that he's definitely a team player. It's not like I'm here and you're there. He's very much togetherness. And I feel like, you know, I don't know if there's something going on right now. I don't know if the water's a bit different or something, but like people are finding it hard to settle down now, you know, and you know, it's like eligible women that are doing things, they're working hard, etc., and they just genuinely find it hard to settle down. I don't know what's happened to society. I don't know whether it's that there are less good men out there, or the women have changed, or maybe digital age has messed things up a little bit. What do you think?
I don't know, because I even look at like friends that I have who I think they're incredible. They're really struggling to find the right people. And I think what's tough as well, because you have so many, well, a lot of my friends, they're doing very, very well. Finding men at the same caliber, they want something different. No, but even if they do find them, unfortunately, they want things that are different. They don't align. They're not aligned. Some of the things my friend wants. So I think it's hard, and I feel like I definitely was lucky, but I think at the time, so my husband says, at the time when we both met, we kind of had nothing.
Same,
So then it's easier to build together. Whereas if you're a woman who has it all on paper, you're a man who has it all on paper, and also women and men look for different things.
Right, they do. We're so different.
So a man that has it all on paper, unfortunately, sometimes some of them aren't looking for a woman that has the biggest bank account, the woman that has the property, and that's kind of difficult, because the women who have properties, who have the businesses, who have the intelligence and have it all on paper, also for them, they've got certain standards.
Absolutely. And as you should, right?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard. It is a hard thing, you know, to settle down once you're established in life. Like with me, I met my husband when I was 16.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like literally in school. He was a year above me.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's like the reason why we got together was because he made me laugh. Do you know what I mean?
But that's nice.
So it's like that's like, and everything else built from that, right? So it's like, but that's me at 16.
Yeah, I know.
If I was 35 looking for somebody,
Make me laugh. Are you crazy?
it definitely wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
So I do get it.
Yeah.
I do get it. Like as you're getting older and you acquire things in life. Yes, that's it. So yeah, I feel like, we're lucky in that sense that we met our partners young and we built from nothing, which is a beautiful story in itself.
And I think also there's a sense of loyalty.
Yeah.
Because you know that person is loyal to you, that person knows your heart. So whatever they build, like they don't feel nervous about what's her intentions. Because they've been with you when you had nothing and they've helped you build that. And you've kind of taken turns in supporting each other.
Yeah.
And I think as well, things have changed. Like my husband will come back and he'll say, I spoke to someone and they said they've sent their wife the bank details to pay them back for something. Like, yeah, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is there so much division?
Separation,
And maybe there is that luck where you have met someone when you did have nothing. So you feel like I haven't built this whole empire and they're just coming to show up.
So you get it from the man's perspective. I get it as well, right? If you've built something, you think someone's just coming to just fleece you. I get the sort of paranoia behind that as well. No, it's definitely a topic that, I don't know. You just got to pray for your husband. Just got to pray for the right husband because I don't know what's going on right now.
It's sad though because I think having a good partner can help.
Yeah.
Because even mentally and emotionally, like I know I will always be okay because I've got good friends, I've got good family, but I'm never alone. I can always lean on my husband. I can always trust him, and he's so honest. Like sometimes too honest.
Yeah,
too honest.
Absolutely.
But I know it's coming from a good heart, and
good
maybe
place.
I just need to like not be as emotional, and then really take what he said. But just having someone that you know has your back.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so
like you
different.
feel safe.
That's so true. And it's what you say about us as women. We're so emotional, right? We're such emotional creatures. So it's like men are more logical and rational. So it's like, you need that missing part. You need that part of rationality to kind of be like, just calm down. You're just being over the top. You need that support to be able to help you in business as well, because... And that's the other thing as well. Like I feel like in your when you're doing business, when you're acquiring properties, it's sometimes seen as masculine energy, right? If you're doing it as a woman on your own, like girl, boss, babe, and all that, which is amazing. I'm so pro it, but really, when you think about it properly, like without support as a woman, you can't really achieve these things without like a backbone behind you, without somebody that's even just cheering you on. It's difficult to achieve it. And I wanted to speak a little bit about what you said earlier about you said that when you got to the age of 27, you were already kind of making some mental decisions for your life. And I think that's really profound because you're already thinking ahead, right? You kind of in your mind gave your relationship a timeline. And so if he's not done this by this, then this is what's going to happen. And so I don't think it's by accident or coincidence that you have an amazing relationship because you've been intentional with your relationship. Was that something that you've always been with your relationship?
Because I think sometimes some people can be time wasters. And I've even seen it with my sister. She was with someone that felt incredible. And they were like, yeah, we'll do this, we'll get married, we'll do this. And then just never happened. And unfortunately, the way society treat women, the minute you hit 30, all of a sudden, drop your standards. Because you don't deserve this. And that's something I encourage her not to do. And it's something I was never going to do. But I know the way society works. So if I'm going to be in an environment where people think of me less because of my age, let me get everything sorted so that kind of puts me in better footing. Because people are savage. I'm not going to cry, why is society like this? It is how it is. So what I didn't want, I was fortunate that it worked out, but what I didn't want was someone to waste my time.
Absolutely.
Then I'm in the pits of hell, not pits of hell, that's too dramatic. But then I'm in an environment where society's blaming me for where I am. Society's kind of looking down on me because it's like, well, you're 30, lower your standards. Well, you're 30, you should be happy anyone's looking at you. And I just didn't want to be in that position.
And did you like have any, because are you the eldest?
Yeah, I am the eldest.
So did you have anybody to say these things to you, or did you just figure out these things really quickly just by assessing people around you? So
I'm a big people watcher. So I kind of sit back and I'll scan a room. You won't know that I have, but I've scanned the whole room. I am hypersensitive to people's energies. So I'm very observant. So I look at situations and environments and I've just seen patterns and behaviors. And there was a period in my life where I read a lot. And so when I used to read, a lot of the things, I used to do was like character analysis, what people say about them, how the people around them treat them. And things like this kind of helped me, I guess, generalize in a way to better protect me. And of course, you shouldn't just approach life in this way. But I think when you do kind of use the average of how things work out, it can then give you strategies to better perform. And it sounds very black and white and it's not romantic, but when you're crying pissed, because look how I'm being treated.
Exactly.
Again, it's not your fault, but to safeguard yourself, these were the things I did. Because then if it was like, this ain't gonna go nowhere, okay, society's giving me 3 years then.
I love that. And you're very intentional then with your relationship, 100%. It wasn't just like airy fairies, oh, this feels good, let's just go with it. You put timelines and a frame around it. And I feel like men respond well to that as well. Like, I was the same situation with my husband. I said to my husband, it got to a point where I was like, if you're not marrying me, I think it was like 21, that if this is not leading to marriage, then let's
just leave me alone.
Let's end this now. Yeah, it's been nice, but so
what made you do that at 21?
So we were together since 16, right? And obviously it was a lot of it wasn't just like straight together. It was like loads of roller coasters, ups and downs. But I got to a point where I'd finished university and I was like, okay, I'm starting life now. Basically, this is my life now. So I was thinking, okay, I'm with this person. I obviously need to be married or have children in the future. So I need to know what he's saying. Like, it's been enough time. And that's it. I just put the onus on him because I didn't want to waste my time. And just like you, although I'm not the first, I'm the third.
Oh, nice.
I've been around a lot of, I grew up in a very female dominated household. I never had my dad, I have my 2 older sisters, and, it was very just females. I never actually ever saw a successful relationship around me.
Oh, wow, okay.
So in me, I always said to myself that I'm not going to be taken for an idiot by a man. That was like, without me even realizing, that was like my kind of being, just because by what I picked up growing up. So when I was with my husband, I was very much like, is this a thing or is it not? Like, do you know what I mean? What are we doing? And he was a bit like, oh, like I think he was a little bit taken back by it. But it worked out. It worked out. And I feel like as women, we need to be bold enough to be like, listen, what's going on? Are we doing this or are we not doing it? It's not a joke. This is life. This is real life. Like, you're not going to be 21 forever, So I like that. You're the same. Like, you put a time scale, you had in your mind, this is what I want. If this is not the right guy for it, cool. See you later. It's been great, but let's move on. And I feel like maybe that's something missing in today's society. Maybe like it's the confidence to be like,
let's move on.
Let's draw a line and let's move on if it's not what you want. So I love that. And, I wanted to speak about what you're doing in Dubai. So you've got an amazing mums group that's growing, and you do loads of activities, and it's just nice because I feel like Dubai is a place where it's very transient. People are moving in and out all the time, and you don't have people. No. So tell us a little bit more about your group. What do you do and how does it work, and why did you start it?
I've got a group called Mums in Gist Dubai. It started first in London.
Okay.
So going back to after lockdown, my husband and I, we rented somewhere in Richmond Borough because we said, okay, I want to stay in London, but I want to stay in a borough that I think will be great for families. And Richmond felt like the place. But again, we try our best to kind of live on one salary. And so that was a point where we kind of lived on 1.5, right? Okay. But we rented somewhere.
It's expensive area. Richmond's very expensive.
Yes, but you can have an expensive borough, but not the most expensive house. The borough was what was important because of schooling, because at the time we weren't sure what kind of school we were going to put our child in, but we knew it had to be Richmond Borough. Because at least then if we picked a public school, we knew it was going to be good. Yeah,
because the caliber of person that lives in Richmond.
And their standards, and also the tax as well. When you pay higher council tax, then you're provided for in a certain way. So then we found a house that was not the nicest house, but it was literally £100 more than what our tenants were paying for in Streatham Hill.
Okay.
So financially, it made sense. So, and that's the thing. I feel like when people do rent, again, I think it's great to rent, but remember the intention behind it. Are you renting because, I love this borough and I want to live here and I want to live like the Joneses, but then what does it do to your bank account? So we do want to live in Richmond, but it's not going to take us to the powerhouse. So I remember the house at the time, I did not love it, but space was great. It was a 3-bedroom, massive.
Okay.
But because it wasn't as modern, the rent wasn't high at all.
Okay, good.
So we lived there for probably a year, saved up, and we knew, okay, this is the borough we want to live in.
Okay.
So then after a year, we went and bought our first like family house.
Right.
And so I started Motherhood there, did an NCT in Richmond, and then our daughter was going to nursery in Richmond, and then we had our son. And the Richmond group, it's nice group of mums, everyone's very social, welcoming. But then the mum circles were not diverse.
Right.
And I really wanted that. So when the time came to move to Dubai, I was like, I can't go through this again in Dubai. So then I started Mums and Gist.
Okay.
First, to document the whole process of relocating to Dubai.
Yeah.
Things we had to do.
Yeah.
Because we own the house.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like to sell property.
Yeah.
We had to get it online. So showcasing that process.
Amazing.
So
that's really impressive, you know, that you've got your Streatham Hill property and you've got your Richmond house as well, and that's good. They're quite two diverse, you know, different opposite ends of the spectrum properties, both in London. That's amazing. And you moved over to Dubai, managing both properties from Dubai. That's amazing. Yeah, go on, carry on.
So then the process, so Mums and Just, part of it is very much showcasing and helping people or expats, well, families, mums who are relocating from anywhere in the world to Dubai, sharing tips, tricks, strategies, how best to move, what budgets you should think about, schools, communities. Because I've had that process, I'm a big research girl. I'm big on saving money, being smart about your move, mentally, emotionally, financially. I'm able to then support other families to do that. So that's one part of Mums and Gist, Dubai.
Yeah. I remember when you started it up as well, your Mums and Gist page, and I thought this is actually a really good idea because there's not much information out there in terms of, you know, especially digestible information. There is information out there, but I feel like the way that you put it out is digestible to mums in particular. So yeah, no, that's amazing.
So it's one part of Mums and Gist, and the second part is very much building a community, because I think Dubai is an incredible place. It's an incredible place for families, whether you're a 2-parent family or a single parent. It's great for you. Yeah. But I think what's difficult, and it's not just a Dubai thing, I think it's anywhere in the world. When you move away from family, friends, anything that's familiar to you, even if you've got the best business or the best job package, emotionally, it can be very difficult.
Yes.
So what I wanted is to build a community where you can find other mums that feel like they get you. Yeah. That won't judge you. Yeah. Where if you are feeling a little bit vulnerable, you're in a safe space.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is definitely the vibe that I get from Mums and Gist, that it's for everybody and anybody. There's no, you know, I feel like certain groups you can feel like, okay, this is a bit clicky, and Mums and Gist does not have that vibe at all. And that's lovely. And, you know, I love the events that you put together. I feel like, you know, looking at the footage of what you get from the events, it looks like this is just fun as well. Like a load of fun for mums to just meet other mums and just chill and just have a good time.
Yeah, I'm very intentional about the kind of events we do, because I know typically a lot of mum clubs will do like coffee mornings, we'll do breakfasts, dinners. But I think whether you're someone that's been here for 10 years, 5 years, a year, or 6 months, sometimes, so for the ones that have just been here recently, I think emotionally it's not easy. And it's difficult because you have this idea of, oh my God, my life's gonna be so much better. And it does get better. But to start with, it's not always easy. And so the activities we do will be like paddle, aquafit. We've done Pilates reformer.
Yeah, and what I saw that one that you had. Yeah.
So what happens with those kind of activities? It increases your endorphins. So you're a lot more, okay, get up and go. And so that versus a coffee morning, after you've had the activity, you're like, oh my God, this was so much fun. Your energy's up. So when you meet another mum, you're both kind of like, oh my God, that was so fun. And that barrier you had when you go to a coffee morning, you're coming there with, I don't know if I like this place. Oh, do you know what? My husband's always at work and I'm on my own, or the business is moving so fast. I just can't catch my feet. Wow. So when you go to that coffee morning or that dinner, you have all those emotions on the surface. So when you meet another mum, you might not connect the same way because you've got those boundaries. And so they might unfortunately have the wrong impression because they're like, oh, she's a bit quiet or she's a bit standoffish or she seems agitated or on edge. But it's not personal. It's because a lot is going on. And that could be 6 months in or a year in or 5 years in.
Right.
So the kind of activities we do allow you to move your body, allow you to be happy-go-lucky. And doesn't mean those problems go. Yeah. But for that split second, you've kind of chilled a bit. So when you meet that mum, you're like, oh, that was so much fun. Like, this is what I'm going through. Or even if you don't have to share what you're going through, your barriers aren't as high.
Yeah, wow, that's really good. I never thought of that, to be honest, like the activities. Because you're right, you do see like coffee mornings and things like that. But if you like, you know, went for a round of tennis and then, you know, afterwards you're relaxed, everyone's like sweaty and, you know, it's like that barrier, the first initial barrier is gone.
That's the thing.
That's so good. I like that idea. And it's also great for networking, would you say, as well?
Yeah, I've met a lot of incredible mums at a lot of these events. And even if it's, because also what I do want as well, because I've got 2 kids of my own, what I want is ideally for you to meet another mum that you gel with, and then you guys kind of go off, meet up, and then you see, do you know what, I really like this mum, let's do play dates. And that helps our kids, because then they're meeting and connecting with other kids that they might have more in common with. So ultimately, I think whatever you get from Mums and Gist, I want it to trickle down to your kids, because there's that big mum guilt. Have I done the right thing? Have I moved to the right place? And then again, I think kids are very happy here, but then to add that layer of finding other kids that maybe they can relate to so much more. As a mum, I love seeing it when I see my son with another kid and they're just so happy, and it's because, you know what, I met that mum at Mums and Gist and we really get on.
Yeah, wow, I love that. To be honest, there's a lot of depth behind the reason for mums and gifs, which I didn't realise. I'm so glad that you've broken it down, because it's mums, but actually at the end of the day, it's going to trickle down to your kids. And you know, that was a big thing with my kids moving here as well. You know, especially my eldest. I was like, you know, I don't know how she's going to find it. You know, because she came from a little small school in the UK, and then, you know, schools in Dubai are big, you know, so I thought, oh my gosh, she's literally going opposite ends. And I was thinking, she's gonna make friends, and in the schools as well, sometimes it can be a bit like drop and go, you know, so you don't actually have, you know, the opportunity to bond or to speak to the mums, etc. You might just not be able to place that mum with which child, you just don't know. So it's nice that you've created this group where, you know, outside of school you can make connections with mum and spend and get play dates and make new friends and get connections, and you can, it's so important for you, because the thing is, a lot of the time with mums, your happiness is triggered by your kids' happiness. So if I know that my child is not having a good time at school, it's going to disturb me. It is. Like, I won't be able to settle myself down. So that's really lovely that Mums and Gist is about mums connecting and it trickling down to the kids. Amazing. So how can somebody join Mums and Gist if they wanted to get involved with your events and your community? How can they join?
So I think you follow at Mums and Gist Dubai, because we showcase a lot of our events on Mums and Gist. And we have a WhatsApp group. But what we do with that WhatsApp group, we want it to feel very safe. And when I say safe, as in a community where you don't have like 101 people in there. And then you don't feel confident to come forward and ask a question or confident to say who wants to hang out. So our group is only open to those that actually come to the event. So after the event, we then invite you to the group. So then you can continue on that relationship. So you follow us on social media and then come to an event, and then we add you to the group. And I think if you're an expat maybe thinking about moving to Dubai, or you're someone that wants to find out more about Dubai, I do relocation clarity calls.
Oh, amazing.
So I've done a few of them already, and I've spoken to a few families, a few mums that are either moving to Dubai. And so during those calls, I'll give them an insight on what communities are good, what school, not good, but a community that might be right for them. And schools that are right for them, what it looks like financially moving to Dubai. Like, I'm a finance girl. So I highlight I highlight what the cost of living looks like. And I know I spoke to someone recently who was given a package, and I was like, go back. Go back and negotiate.
Wow.
Like, don't take your first
Wow, that's
offer.
invaluable. What you're offering there is actually amazing.
Because a lot of people are moving to Dubai, and I champion it. But do the research. Do the research. Speak to people that are actually here. Because also with social media, everyone's going through different things. So what you see on social media will be people being happy-go-lucky because they're not trying to bring you down.
No,
right?
you just see the highlights on social media.
Exactly, see the highlights. So it's not that people are showing fake lifestyle, but not every day come and cry about what I'm going through.
Absolutely.
But message someone or book a call, and then I'll let you know, okay, this is how it works. If you are also people that are running businesses, it costs to set up as a business owner.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And also I work in finance for a small business, right? They're doing extremely well. It does take time to really set up. There are hidden costs that you need to know about. Speak to people that live here.
Right. Yeah, that's so good, you know, that you offer that, because it's when you're here, then it's like, oh, you got to pay for this. Oh, yeah, you got to pay for that, by the way. Just pay for that. It's 10,000 dirhams, 10,000 dirhams. So it's so good that, you know, you offer that service where you can speak through things, because you need it, because you can get overwhelmed by the costs out here if you're not careful, you know. And it's so good to hear that you're offering a service about, you know, even salary packages. That's invaluable information, because obviously us coming here as a business, it's a bit different. So we didn't have to, the second time around, we didn't, you know, initially obviously teaching, it's kind of like you just get what you get, you know, it's not like that sort of back and forth. So, but the fact that you're saying, if you get the first offer, go back. And I think that in itself probably will help a lot of people. Just knowing that, no, I'm not going to take the first offer.
Yeah, and also knowing what legally is required. Because I've spoken to people and they were like, yeah, I'm only given the visa. I'm like, what about your medical?
Okay.
And they won't know, because you're just signing things because you're so happy that I've been given a salary that's tax-free. I don't believe that's enough for you. And I think what happens is you'll be like, oh my God, I'm leaving England, I'm going to Dubai. And you come here and the standards are high. You're expected to do well, right? And you're like, oh, I wish I asked for more. I wish I did this.
Wow.
So have those conversations ahead of time. So you're not like disappointed.
Yes.
And it doesn't taint your experience, because it is amazing here.
Yes.
But you want to make sure you've done the research.
Yeah. You're in the right package, right area, right everything, and you'll have a good time here.
Yeah.
So what is the future for Jaye? What is
gist.
your you know, for mums and gist, for Jaye, what is that? Obviously I know these days, as you get older, you kind of just, you know, you want to be in alignment, right? With whatever you're doing. What do you have planned? Do you think Dubai is long term for you, or do you have any other?
So we're now 2 years in Dubai. I think the first 2 years have been nice. They've been nice. We're very much in a place where we're stable. As in, before we came here, we made sure we're on a package that was more than enough, right? And although I work to build the capital to then reinvest. So you're in Dubai. I feel like most people will always invest. I think now that we're 2 years in and we're in a good place, it's thinking about opportunities that allow us to be a lot freer. It's opportunities that allow us to really enjoy the time with our kids. So I think probably from September, we're going to kind of push more so that investment. And
do you think invest in Dubai or more stuff in the UK?
I love property. So so I think definitely in Dubai, but still I love the UK. I love the UK. So I think come September, we'll probably iron out exactly what we'll do. Investment side, but that's something we want to do. And I think our kids now, they're both going to a different school. And that's something that people need to think about, schools. There are a lot of people moving to Dubai. So whatever schools you want them to go to, plan ahead. But yeah, both kids now, they're going to be in a good place. So I think the future, by the grace of God, it's good. It's good.
Definitely. And Mums and Gist is just growing day by day. You know, it's so exciting to see the amount of people moving here and joining and connecting, networking. You know, even with me moving out here a second time, you know, it's been so nice to have you here, because it's like you've been an amazing, like, you're like glue. I don't know if people told you that before.
No, I've never heard that.
No, I feel like you are you're a connector. Some people have that about them. Some people have, I feel like you've got that about you. You are a connector. So you do Mums and Gist. I feel like it's very aligned, because you are a connector kind of person anyway. So
just to add, you say that. So I think about 3-4 weeks ago, we had a Aquafit event. And I think there was 3 ladies that were sat on one side and one on her own. So she wasn't on her own, it was a group of 3. And then I spoke to her and she said where she lived. But because I spoke to the other group, I remember them speaking about the same location. So I brought her forward and I was like, ladies, she lives here. Are you guys close by? And they all started screaming. They were like, oh my God, we live in the same area.
Wow.
And then I remember at the end, it was like 5 of them. 3 of them, 2 of them had arrived together, and the other 3 were on their own, and they all went home together.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what Mums and Gist is about.
Amazing.
It's about connecting and finding other mums, because it just makes your motherhood journey just so much better.
Yes.
So that was nice. So yeah, I'm excited about Mums and Gist.
Yeah, me too.
We have an event in July.
Okay, what's that about?
So we're gonna have a paddle, like Dubai and paddle.
I need to do paddle. Yeah, because can you believe I've never done paddle, and I'm living in Dubai. Yeah, I'll come to this one. Yeah.
So we're gonna do a Mums and Gist paddle and gist. So play a game of paddle and also have coffee or whatever drink that suits you.
Okay.
So get those endorphins up, and then have a drink and connect with another mum.
Yeah.
And hopefully you find a friend.
Yeah.
But if not, at least you know you've had good
time. Yeah. Oh, it sounds so good.
I'm excited.
Sounds fun.
And then we do the clarity calls. If you're relocating to Dubai, I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
Even if you're someone even if you're someone that's in senior leadership. So I'll have calls with, I remember we had a director that was relocating one of their offices from the UK to Dubai.
Wow.
So he was going to stay in Dubai for a short time. So I helped him find a school that would take 3 of his children.
Amazing.
And then a community that wasn't too far.
Okay.
So we do the events, but also we do relocation process just to help and better support you in doing the move, or having enough information to support you if you are going to do it or you're thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a very good service. I think it's something that anyone that's thinking of moving to Dubai should definitely hit Jaye up when it comes to that. Even if you've just got questions that you may think are silly, there is no silly question really. You're moving to a whole new country, like you have to ask the questions,
especially if you're moving with kids. You have to no question is silly or stupid at all. Exactly.
Oh, Jaye, well, thank you so much. This has been amazing. No, it's been really good. I've learned a lot about you, so
okay, good.
This has been amazing. So if anybody wants to know more from Jaye, make sure you follow her at Mums and Gist, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.